watch it.
Who'd you watch with?
Crystal.
Okay, just the two of you, not
just
a big
the two
party?
of us, yeah. Just whispering in my...
Clint Eastwood's love life has made headlines since he became famous. The Hollywood actor has 8 children from several women. The big question is, who are these women? His first wife was Maggie Johnson. However, she's only the first among many. Eastwood had different high-profile relationships and flings. Join us as we delve into all his girlfriends from 1953 till now. Number 1. Maggie Johnson. Eastwood and Maggie Johnson met in May 1953. She was a student at the University of California, Berkeley. At the time, Eastwood had just left the military and was considering attending Los Angeles City College. Before leaving for college, he visited a friend in San Francisco. Thanks to that friend, Eastwood met Maggie on a blind date. However, Maggie was already in a relationship. She later revealed that she thought Eastwood was impressive. I came down the stairs of the sorority house and Clint had his back to me. When he turned around, I was amazed at what he looked like. Plus, he was understated, and that kind of appealed to me, Maggie told Richard Schickel. Eastwood said they got along well, leading to many more dates. However, despite their strong connection, Eastwood was seeing other women. Before moving to Los Angeles, he had a child with another woman in Seattle. When he returned to Los Angeles that fall, he continued seeing Maggie. She had just finished college and lived with her family in nearby Alhambra, California. After a short time, the couple began discussing marriage. Initially, Eastwood said he wasn't sure, but he eventually proposed to her. They got married on December 19, 1953. A few months before this time, Eastwood's daughter, Lori Murray, was born and placed for adoption. Eastwood was clueless about this at the time. Even though Eastwood agreed to get married, the relationship soon had problems. He later said their first year of marriage was terrible because he often felt like doing whatever he wanted. Then, in the late 1950s, he started seeing Roxanne Tunis. The extramarital affair led to the birth of his second child, Kimber Lynn. She was born in 1964. It is unclear whether Maggie was aware of the affair, although in Clint Eastwood, a biography, a friend of the couple, Fritz Maines, stated that Maggie once asked him if he thought Eastwood was seeing someone else. Maines admitted to lying about Eastwood's affairs to reassure her. Meanwhile, Maggie said she didn't want to think too much about it. Years later, Eastwood told Playboy magazine that he believed Johnson was a woman who knows how much space I need. The couple went on to have 2 children together. Their son, Kyle Eastwood, was born in 1968. In 1972, their daughter, Allison Eastwood, was born. Later, the family moved to Carmel by the Sea, California. They spent 7 years building the house they had always dreamed of. Unfortunately, during that time, their marriage began to fall apart. There were rumors that Eastwood was having an affair with his fellow star, Sandre Lockach. Eastwood said he often argued with Maggie over their house until they slowly grew apart. In 1979, a few years after the affair with Lockach began, Eastwood and Johnson separated. They officially got divorced in 1984. Maggie reportedly received $25 million as part of the settlement. After their divorce, the two remained on good terms and continued to be friends. When Eastwood was elected mayor of Carmel by the Sea in 1986, Maggie and his children were by his side. In July 2022, their daughter Allison opened up about the former couple's relationship. She said that they spent holidays together and lived only a mile apart. "I'm so thankful that both of them are friends. We all celebrate Thanksgiving together," Allison told Fox News. "Their lives are intertwined and it's been great, and they've always gotten along really well. I give my mom a lot of credit for being somebody who said, 'We have a family together, regardless of whether we're married or not. We want the kids to know that we get along, and we're friends still.' That was especially important to both of my parents. Family came first." Number 2. Roxanne Tunis. While Eastwood was still married to Maggie Johnson, he met Roxanne Tunis. She played stuntwoman on the set of Rawhide, which aired in 1959. The two began dating shortly after meeting. Their affair reportedly lasted for around 14 years. In 1964, Roxanne had a baby girl named Kimber Lynn Eastwood. Eastwood later stated that he was unaware Roxanne was pregnant and did not learn about the baby's existence until approximately a year after her birth. Biographer Mark Elliott wrote that Eastwood's wife, Johnson, may not have known about the baby at the time. It is difficult to say for sure that she actually knew about the baby, although it would have been nearly impossible for her not to. Everyone on the set knew, and it is simply too difficult to keep a secret like that when the mother and the illegitimate child live in the same small town, especially when that small town is Hollywood. The source for a National Enquirer article from 1989, which first made the story public, said that Maggie Johnson always knew about Kimber. The source said that Maggie even met Roxanne Tunis in person during a surprise visit to the set of the movie Breezy in 1972. However, during a 1992 interview, Maggie said nothing when asked about Roxanne Tunis. Roxanne and her siblings never spoke to the media. However, people close to the Tunis family agreed to talk for a book written by Patrick McGilligan. They didn't give their names. According to them, Eastwood wanted to have a baby with Roxanne. They said that when she got pregnant, he was happy. Interestingly, this story differs significantly from what Eastwood shared in his biography by Richard Schickel. Eastwood said he didn't know Roxanne was pregnant until after Kimber was born. In the book Clint Eastwood, a biography, he stated that hearing the news felt like the wind had been knocked out of him. Eastwood planned to help support Kimber but didn't visit her often. He only saw her once every 3 or 4 months. According to reports, Roxanne continued to see Eastwood, visiting him on movie sets and at his office. On the other hand, Kimber Lynn has responded to media inquiries with honesty. In 1989, after news of her identity became public, she spoke to the Sunday Mirror. She said, "Yes, Clint Eastwood is my father. I must speak to him about this. I am partly shocked and partly glad it is all out in the open." Soon after, in an interview with Star magazine, Kimber shared that her mother had called Eastwood because she was expecting a check. She said Eastwood started yelling on the phone and seemed very upset. Kimber said, "He's so upset because he's guilty." In 1990, she told the Manchester Evening News, "I'm cut off completely. He's furious with me. He's disowned me and his grandson." Later that same year, Eastwood chose not to attend Kimber's wedding to Doug McCartney, a businessman from Denver. Instead of her father, Kimber's uncle walked her down the aisle. It is not clear when Eastwood's and Roxanne's relationship finally ended. However, she died in 2023 after a brief illness. After her passing, Roxanne has been described as one of Clint's true loves. A close family source told Radar Online, Roxanne worshipped the ground he walked on. She didn't give a damn about the fact that Clint was a star. She was never impressed with all the money and fame. All she ever wanted was to have and to hold Clint Eastwood, the man. Number 3. Sandre Lockach. Eastwood first met actress Sandre Lockach in 1972 when she auditioned for his movie, Breezy. At that time, Eastwood was still married to Maggie Johnson, and Lockach was also married to her childhood best friend, Gordon Anderson. Even though Lockach did not get the role in Breezy, she was later cast in Eastwood's movie, The Outlaw Josie Wales, in 1975. That was when the two began an affair. In her book, The Good, the Bad, and the Very Ugly, A Hollywood Journey, Sandre Lockach wrote that Eastwood told her there was no real relationship left between him and Maggie Johnson. Eastwood and Sandre Lockach's relationship continued even after filming ended. Lockach said that she eventually moved into one of Eastwood's houses. When they worked together again on the movie The Gauntlet, rumors began circulating about a possible romance between them. Despite the headlines, the pair told the public they were just friends. Lockach said she had the greatest amount of respect, admiration, and fondness for Eastwood. "Everybody would love for us to say, 'It's all true. We're madly in love,'" Lockach told people in 1978. "But people will believe whatever they want to believe. Even if it were true, which it isn't, I certainly wouldn't talk about it." The next year, Eastwood and Maggie Johnson broke up. In her autobiography, Lockach said that by that time, she already had 2 abortions and had her fallopian tubes tied because Eastwood told her he didn't want any more kids. According to Vanity Fair, Eastwood denied making the statement. Lockach and Eastwood stayed together for about 10 more years, but their relationship became more unhealthy. During that time, Lockach remained legally married to and in a platonic relationship with Anderson, who was gay. On the other hand, Eastwood had affairs with both Jaseline Reeves and Frances Fischer. As time went on, he and Sandre Lockach hardly spent any time together. By April 1989, things had gotten so bad that Eastwood reportedly moved all of Lockach's things into storage and changed the locks on their house. This was reported by the Washington Post. Soon after, Lockach filed a palimony lawsuit against Eastwood, alleging that she suffered humiliation, mental anguish, severe emotional and physical distress, and mental and physical harm during their relationship. She asked for $1.3 million as her share of the money they had made while together, along with a few properties. One of the properties was rented to Anderson. The lawsuit was stuck without progress for over a year. During that time, Lockach was also dealing with breast cancer and getting treatment. In 1990, they finally reached an agreement. Lockach would drop the lawsuit, and in return, Eastwood would set her up with a $1.5 million development deal at Warner Brothers, give her the house where Anderson was living, and pay her $450,000 plus monthly support payments. However, 5 years later, Lockach took Eastwood to court again for fraud and breaking a financial agreement. She said that every project she brought to Warner Brothers was turned down because Eastwood wanted to stop her from working. According to the Los Angeles Times, in September 1996, the two reached a private settlement outside court. In November 2018, Lockach passed away from cardiac arrest caused by breast and bone cancer. She and Anderson stayed married and remained close friends until the end of her life. Looking back on her time with Eastwood, she told the Washington Post, "My biggest misfortune, my greatest regret, is that I wish I'd cut my time with Clint in half. I wouldn't say I wish I never had the relationship, but I wish I'd found a way. I'd understood who he was, where it would end, 5 or 6 years earlier, so I could have gotten on with things." Number 4. Jaseline Reeves. When Eastwood was still in a relationship with Sandre Lockach, he met a flight attendant named Jaseline Reeves. Not much is known about their time together, but they had 2 children. Their son, Scott Eastwood, born Scott Reeves, was born on March 21, 1986. Their daughter, Catherine Eastwood, born Catherine Reeves, was born on February 2, 1988. The birth certificates for both children read, "Father declined." No one knew about Eastwood's relationship with Reeves until a tabloid called Star published a story in 1990. According to reports, Reeves said that some of her relatives wanted her to take Eastwood to court over paternity, but she didn't want to. For many years, the media largely overlooked the children. Most major news outlets ignored their existence until the mid-2000s. In 2024, Catherine caused a stir by speaking out publicly against her half-siblings and her former stepmother, Dena Ruiz. Dena responded by threatening to sue Catherine for libel, and even said she might try to have her institutionalized. The situation ended quickly after Catherine had a phone call with Eastwood. Number 5. Frances Fischer. In late 1988, Eastwood met actress Frances Fischer. At the time, he was still dating Sandre Lockach and was also having an ongoing affair with Jaseline Reeves. Eastwood and Fischer first met when she was cast in the movie Pink Cadillac, although they didn't meet until the film's pre-production party. Fischer said she fell for him the moment she skated into the room and saw him. "He looked right at me, the way he does every other woman in the world, but it got to me too. I mean, when he turns it on, he can turn it on, and I just went, oh my God, look at that. A human was being there. I just saw such beauty in his presence, and I felt like a big piece of the puzzle had fallen in place." Fischer shared in Clint Eastwood, a biography. They grew close during filming and continued to see each other after returning to Los Angeles. In late 1989, Eastwood and Lockach's split made headlines. Fischer was surprised, as he had not mentioned the relationship. After that, Eastwood and Fischer began quietly dating and eventually moved in together. By 1992, they were attending red carpet events as a couple. Fischer told people their relationship was steady, serious, and we have a lot of fun. In Eastwood's biography, she said things worked well as long as she believed he was being faithful. In August 1993, they had a daughter named Francesca Ruth Eastwood. Fischer described their time as a family as miraculous. However, by the end of that same year, their relationship began to fall apart. They had personal issues, and Fischer discovered that Eastwood had other children with Reeves. Additionally, paparazzi photos showed Eastwood kissing another woman. Fischer decided to move into the guest house. By the spring of 1995, they both went their separate ways. With relationships, with people, you're attracted to somebody for a reason. You follow it through, and if you can't get past the honeymoon stage and get into the deeper meanings of why you're together, you're doomed to just stop when things start getting tough. Fischer told the LA Times shortly after their split. Even though they broke up, Eastwood and Fischer stayed on good terms. They also attended red carpet events together. In 2004, Fischer told SFGate, "I believe when you have loved someone, if you don't destroy it with pettiness, then the love is always there." Number 6. Dena Ruiz. Eastwood was still dating actress Sandre Lockach when he met Dena Ruiz. She was a news anchor in Carmel by the Sea. They first met in 1992 when she interviewed him. Afterward, they ran into each other again at a local event. "We got along really well, and I guess we flirted a little bit because she took the film back to KSBW, and one of her associates said, 'You're going to marry him,'" Eastwood told Carmel magazine of their first meeting. "Then we were attending a function out at Spanish Bay, and one of the hosts said, 'Do you mind sitting with Dena Ruiz?' I said, 'No, not at all.' We ended up holding hands and doing all that kind of nonsense." In early 1995, the two were seen kissing at a golf tournament. However, they didn't officially become a couple until Eastwood and Sandre Lockach split up. In September 1995, Eastwood proposed to Dena. A few months later, in December, they visited a courthouse in Haley, Idaho to obtain their marriage license. In March 1996, Eastwood secretly planned a wedding ceremony while Dena was away on a girls' trip to Las Vegas. The ceremony took place at his friend Steve Wynn's estate. In just 48 hours, the wedding was planned, and the couple tied the knot. Later, Dena described the wedding as her dream wedding. After getting married, Eastwood and Dena found out they were expecting their first child. In December 1996, they welcomed their daughter, Morgan Eastwood. The couple stayed married and raised Morgan together. In an interview from 2007, Dena said the longest they had ever been apart was maybe 10 days. "He's the least pretentious person I've ever met, and I love that he's so conscientious about nature and letting things remain as they are. When Morgan was a little girl, she liked to go in our yard to look at the flowers, and he'd say, 'Please don't pick the flowers, let them live.' He's one of those people who take bugs outside. I call him Saint Francis of Assisi." In 2012, Dena and Eastwood appeared on the reality show Mrs. Eastwood and Company. It showed Dena's life with Morgan and her stepdaughter Francesca. Eastwood, however, wasn't featured much on the show, and sources later revealed that he was upset about it because it didn't align with his beliefs. By June of that year, their marriage had started to fall apart. Although they still lived in the same house, they were sleeping in different rooms. Dena reportedly began leaning on her old friend, Scott Fischer, for support. He had been living in Australia and was going through a divorce. Although Dena said her relationship with Scott was platonic, his ex-wife, Erica Fischer, was concerned about the nature of their relationship and reached out to Eastwood in early 2013. By March, Eastwood started dating Erica. By September of that year, Dena filed for legal separation from Eastwood, asking for joint custody of Morgan and spousal support. She also asked her followers on Twitter not to speak badly about Eastwood, calling him a wonderful, good-natured, brilliant person. In October, Dena officially filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. After the split, Dena told Bethany Frankel on her talk show that she and Eastwood were still on good terms. She praised him, saying, "He is the sweetest. He is a loving, kind, low-key person. So my intuition was still great on marrying a good person." In July 2016, Dena married Scott Fischer in Santa Barbara, California. Number 7. Erica Tomlinson Fischer. While Eastwood was still married to Dena, Erica Tomlinson Fischer reached out to him. At that time, she was finalizing a divorce from her husband, Scott, who was a longtime friend of Dena. Dena and Scott had reconnected, and Erica was concerned about the nature of their relationship. After they first talked, Eastwood and Erica started talking on the phone often. In March 2013, they began dating. They kept their relationship private, but Erica was seen in Los Angeles with Eastwood, and photos were later shared by the Daily Mail. It's unclear exactly when or how their relationship ended. Number 8. Christina Sandera. After Eastwood broke up with Erica, he started dating a woman named Christina Sandera. The pair met when Sandera was working as a hostess at Eastwood's Mission Ranch Hotel in California. They started dating in 2014. Their first public appearance was in 2015. According to the New York Times, this was on the red carpet at the Oscars. In 2018, Christina Sandera accompanied Eastwood and his family to the Los Angeles premiere of his movie, The Mule. His family at the event included his children, his granddaughter, and his first wife, Maggie Johnson. He's truly happy with her, an insider exclusively told Closer Weekly in May 2020. She's fun, easygoing, and his kids like her too. She's on an even keel like he is. In July 2024, Eastwood shared the sad news that Christina Sandera had passed away at the age of 61. Clint Eastwood's further alleged offspring Lori Murray, Kimberlyn, Scott, and Catherine Reeves were not mentioned in the biography episode about Clint Eastwood that aired on A&E on October 5, 2003. According to writer Patrick McGilligan, the people who know Clint best suspect there are other families in his closet. The first report of Lori's existence appeared in the UK version of the book Clint, The Life and Legend in 1999. Her name was not included at the time, and no news outlet mentioned her. That was until she showed up at the premiere of The Mule in December 2018. Lori told the photographers who she was. Some sources claim that Eastwood had another daughter named Leslie. One of these is a website launched by Eastwood's cousin, Steve, in 2006, now shut down. It stated that Leslie was born on February 13, 1959, to a woman named Rosina Mary Glenn. However, Eastwood has not publicly responded to these claims. In a 2012 French documentary, L'Album Secret de Clint Eastwood, McGilligan said, "We don't know how many children Clint has had or with how many women. One was when he was still in high school. I heard of other possibilities." Playboy magazine stated that the total number of Eastwood's children is unclear and that Eastwood does not like to discuss it. In a 60 Minutes interview from 1997, Steve Kroft asked Eastwood how many children he had. Eastwood answered, "I have a few," and said nothing more. Kroft later said the question made things awkward. Eastwood stared at him for about 30 seconds, making it clear he didn't want to talk about it. Clint Eastwood's Hollywood career. Eastwood was born on May 31, 1930, to Ruth and Clinton Eastwood. According to a CBS press release for Rawhide, a film crew from Universal International was filming at Fort Ord when an assistant noticed Eastwood and invited him to meet the director. This version, however, is questioned by Eastwood's unofficial biographer, Patrick McGilligan. Eastwood's official biography says a man named Chuck Hill was the real connection. Hill was stationed at Fort Ord and knew people in the Hollywood area. While in Los Angeles, he reconnected with Eastwood and helped him sneak into a Universal studio. There, Hill introduced him to a cameraman named Irving Glassberg. Glassberg helped Eastwood get an audition with director Arthur Lubin. Lubin liked how Eastwood looked. He was 6 feet 4 inches tall. However, Lubin did not think much of his acting. Lubin said Eastwood didn't know what to do or where to go. Still, Lubin told him to take acting lessons and got him his first contract in April of 1954. The contract earned Eastwood $100 a week. After signing, Eastwood was initially criticized for his stiff manner and for delivering his lines with a clenched jaw. In May of that year, Eastwood had his first real audition for a film called Six Bridges to Cross, but the director, Joseph Pevney, turned him down. After many failed auditions, he got a small role from director Jack Arnold in Revenge of the Creature in 1955. That September, Eastwood worked for 3 weeks on Lubin's film Lady Godiva of Coventry. In February 1955, he played a sailor named Jonesy in Francis in the Navy. He also had a small, uncredited role as a pilot in another Jack Arnold film called Tarantula. In May 1955, he worked for 4 hours on the film Never Say Goodbye. Later in August, he had a small, uncredited part as a ranch hand in Star in the Dust. Universal gave him his first TV role on July 2, 1955, in Allen in Movieland. The show also starred Steve Allen, Tony Curtis, and Benny Goodman. Although he continued to develop as an actor, Universal terminated his contract on October 23, 1955. After that, he joined the Marsh Agency. Lubin helped him get a bigger role in The First Traveling Saleslady in 1956, and later hired him again for Escapade in Japan in 1957. But without a formal contract, Eastwood still struggled. His financial advisor, Irving Leonard, told him to switch agents. In 1956, he joined the Kuman Olenek Agency. In 1957, he moved to Mitchell Gertz. Eastwood got a few roles in 1956. He played a moody army officer in a segment of the Reader's Digest TV series and a motorcycle gang member in an episode of Highway Patrol. In 1957, he appeared as a cadet in the West Point series and as a gold prospector who wanted to die in Death Valley days. In 1958, he played a Navy officer in an episode of Navy Log. Early in 1959, he guest starred on Maverick as a cowardly villain named Red Hartigan. Eastwood had a small part as an aviator in Lafayette Escadrille and a larger role as a former Confederate soldier in ambush at Cimarron Pass. Clint Eastwood became a global sensation in the mid-1960s. This was all thanks to his role as the man with no name in Sergio Leone's Dollars trilogy, which came out during the 1970s and 80s. In 1986, Eastwood was elected mayor of Carmel by the Sea, California, and served for 2 years. Eastwood has won many awards, including 4 Academy Awards, 4 Golden Globes, 3 César Awards, and the AFI Life Achievement Award. In 2000, the Venice Film Festival presented him with the Golden Lion Award for his lifetime achievements. France also honored him with 2 of its top awards, the Commander of the Ordre des Arts et des Lettres in 1994 and the Legion of Honor in 2007. What do you think of Clint Eastwood's dating history? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more celebrity gist. Before you go, watch the other videos on your screen.